Coming up on Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte. What in the name of Queen Elizabeth do we have here?
The guys call it badass, and the girls call it cute.
His friends call it the space shuttle. The auto experts,
They called it a luxury muscle car.
and a very sharp Model A that is, well, is that pink?
I guess it's kind of a peach, you know, pink. You see a pink car beside of it, it's a little bit different.
Well, okay. Plus,
Just doing math, how much pressure was taken off that glass?
getting those windows just right in under the hood. Better buckle up for this one. Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte, starts right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte. I'm Jeff Phelps, and we've come to a place that's a little loud. It's the 10th annual Blue Suede Cruise. It's at Summit MotorSports Park in Norwalk, Ohio. Great classic cars here, some of them very loud, some of them very, very fast. Gary, I'm a sucker for Fords from the 60s and 70s, and when I saw your Torino Cobra, well, of course, we had to come over and talk to you.
Yes.
Explain the Cobra part of the Torino. It sounds nasty, we know it means nasty.
The Cobra, they put a bigger motor on, well, had a motor that had more horsepower, and most of them was all 4-speed cars. You know, there was a few automatics, but they were 4-speed and the drag pack suspension in them and put a little better gear in them to make them run a little better, and the motor had a little more horsepower, and it handled better too. The suspension was better handling package too.
It'll get down the road, in other words.
Oh yeah, it'll run pretty decent.
Where did you find this?
I went on vacation last year to see Mom in Virginia, and I was looking for a Mach 1, and I couldn't find one. So on the way back, I seen this at a, it was at a flea market. I thought, I pulled in there, and it wasn't even for sale. And there was a guy sitting on a table. I asked him if it was for sale. I asked who owned it. He said, I did. It was an older guy. He said, I bought it off the original owner. He goes, I've had it a year and a half. He said, so I'll sell it.
So he got it from the original owner.
Yeah.
And it's an original car.
It's all original. The paint's original. The car's all original. The motor's never been out of the car, and it's got 90,000 miles on it now. It's never been out of the car. It's never been tore apart. It's all original. The only thing they changed in the car was the gear. The old man put a 300 gear in it, and it should have like a 390 gear, but they changed it. He put a 300 gear in it, and that's it. You know, it's all original.
You told me you like Fords. You have a bunch of Fords. So what was it about this one in particular that appealed to you?
I had a 70 Torino GT years ago, and I figured I wanted another one, you know, so I seen that one, and it was a Cobra, and I thought, you know, I like them, and I thought, well, since it's a Cobra, it's different. You know, there's not many of them around.
Now you told me it runs well, but I want the explanation for this. It runs so well, you're planning to do what with it and take it where?
My buddy, I found a 67 Camaro for him last summer, and I bought this one last year. And my wife wants to go to Vegas, but I won't fly. So we compromised. We're gonna drive. I'm gonna drive us to Vegas this summer.
Driving to Vegas in your 71 Torino Cobra without air conditioning, Gary.
Yeah.
To Vegas in the summer.
Yeah, but you got 480. 4 windows down, 80 mile an hour, you get all the air you want.
Jim, I've seen recently where NASA has ended the space shuttle program, but your friend John told me it's alive and well in Northeast Ohio with your Toronado.
You know, it was a good program, so we felt that there was a need to keep it going. But we're keeping ours on the ground.
John said it looks like the space shuttle at re-entry when it's almost ready to burst into flames.
It does. Especially when the tires are smoking and we're coming off the line.
What did you do to this thing paint-wise?
Just painted it flat black and got my nephew to draw some flames on there. And a good friend of mine and I just grabbed some paint and started painting. Trying to get that 60s look.
It's got the look all right. And I'm sure, especially places other than a drag strip, you get some serious looks.
I do.
How long have you had this car?
About 8 years now.
And why did you buy this, an old Toronado?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was 14 years old, my dad bought the first Toronado in town. We lived in Wellington in 1966. Motor Trend's Car of the Year. First year for the front-wheel drive Toronado. And from that From that day, I fell in love with them. I have 4 of them.
You have 4? Or
Yes, I have 2 66s and 2 67s. And this is my toy for racing at Norwalk. And then got another one that's, going to be all original from its original, build.
Well, I was going to say, because the Toronado in its day was kind of a snazzy car.
Oh, very, yeah.
It was, the borderline luxury car, but with a sporty look to it.
And they called it a luxury muscle car. No hump in the floor because of the front wheel drive. The floor is flat, and it's got a lot of room in the interior. Power steering, power brakes. You could get them with air conditioning, climate control. This one's got power windows and power seats. Weighs 4,400 pounds and it runs in the low 14s.
It also looks like it has something wrong on the hood. What'd you do? It's got like a big pimple or something.
Well, I was getting ready to put the engine in. I dropped something heavy on the hood and it put a dent in it, so I figured I'd just cut the dent out. No, that's a blower scoop. Originally, when I put it together, I had a dual quad tunnel ram on it, and of course, all that needed, it wouldn't sit under the hood.
Exactly, needed a little space.
And then I thought I'd do another modification, so we put the high-rise Holly spread bore on it, tame it down. Yeah, we started out with a dual quad tunnel ram on it, and it wasn't quite the right combination, a little too racy. So we went to this for some consistency.
Well, Jim, I like the fact that you have enough Toronados that you can have one for fun out at the track, one to buzz around town, one to work on. It's Toronado all the time.
All the time.
There's nothing minor league about this hot rod, except maybe its name.
Oh, the Volkswagen Bug came along and just killed it for sales.
It's next on Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte.
World-class collector vehicles. That's what RK Motors Charlotte is all about. The finest in classic, muscle, and high-performance automobiles. The design and excellence of the 1930s and 40s. The chrome of the 1950s. The muscle of the 1960s and 70s, and much more. RK Motors is the one-stop shop to sell your car, add a new prize to your collection, or restore an old friend to past glory. Learn more about RK Motors Charlotte at rkmotorscharlotte.com.
Now back to Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte. Ken, you drove into the lot and I thought, I can't remember the last time I saw a Buick LeSabre from this era. How long have you had this? When did it become yours?
7, 8 years.
And you found it where?
Bowling Green, Ohio.
And was the car originally an Ohio car, Ken?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yes.
It's in terrific shape. Have you done much to it, or is it pretty much original?
It's pretty original. Yeah. It's got a 364 engine in it.
That'll move.
Yeah, it runs really good.
You take a look at the design of this car, Ken, and just the way it's laid out, it has some real interesting things on both the front and the rear.
I like the wideness of the front and the same with the back.
It's got kind of the overhang,
Yeah.
over the front and the back
Yeah.
that's really kind of a different look.
In '61, they started doing away with the big flare fenders on it, on Buicks. All GM cars.
Now, how often do you see another car like yours?
I've seen 4-doors, but I don't see too many 2-door hardtops.
What have you done to this car since you've owned it, Ken?
Besides putting new radial tires on it and keep it tuned up, done a little work on the front end. I put dual exhaust on it. Yeah.
And you get in it, you drive it, and you have a good time.
Oh yeah. Actually, my wife, I get a couple cars. My wife drives this one usually, and I drive my '61 Impala.
Well, it was very nice of her to let you take it for the day.
Yeah. Well, one of these tents is ours here, and the tent is so big, and the trunk is so big, I can carry the tent in the trunk of this car. It is a huge trunk.
Mike, you may have the most difficult to identify car here today. It's what exactly?
It's a 1956 Morris Minor.
So it's not a miniature Chevy or Ford from the 30s or 40s.
No, it looks,
And
it
it's
looks
not a
lot like
Volkswagen.
It's definitely not a Volkswagen.
It's a Morris Minor.
Yes.
What is a Morris Minor?
It's a British car that was originally supposed to come over here and just wow us in the 50s as an economy car. Oh, the Volkswagen Bug came along and just killed it for sale. So there's only a handful probably prowling around the U.S.
But none looking like this, I'm sure.
I don't know, there's a couple of guys who've hot rodded them, but they're going more the modern style, low to the ground. I've always liked the 60s gasser style, so that's what I went after.
Well, you have it. There's no question about that. Where did you find a Morris Minor?
It was on a farm in Kentucky. I found it in the Auto Trader and decided to go down and take a look at it. And this guy just showed me the car. It was in one stall, a horse was behind it in the other stall, and he said he let his kids just take it out in the field. So it was a Kentucky field car.
Did you have any idea what a Morris Minor was at the time, and were you looking for one?
No, no. At the time I was interested in the little minis, but I've got too much hot rod blood in me. That's way too small a car to make anything out of.
So you bought it in Kentucky,
Yep,
took it home, and discovered what?
total rot underneath. The body, the panels are rock solid, but the underneath, it was one of the earlier unibody cars, and it was completely rotted. I mean, you just had to press your finger and find a new hole.
That made the project a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it changed the scope of the project just a little bit. We cut the entire bottom out of the car, and I built a frame out of 2x4 steel. So we started in 2000, we bought the car. 2 years to dismantle it, another 5 to assemble it. But in really 2009, we finished it off.
What kind of reaction do you get with this? Because, as we said earlier, nobody knows what it is.
What's good is you either get the puzzled look or just people just smile. It's on a website in England where they have what they call bastardized Morrises. And
What a nice, friendly website.
yeah, and the article goes on to say that, you know, the guys call it badass and the girls call it cute. So he says, can you live with that? I'm fine with it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder what the folks in England would think about their nice little Morris Minor right now.
They're pretty much like here. You know, you've got those people who like to keep everything restored and original, and others who just say, hey, you know what, anything could be a hot rod.
And anything is.
It is. The dare to be different class.
There's more to a window than just rolling it up and down.
You almost got to think backwards. Sometimes I move it this way, it's going to go that way.
Under the Hood is next on Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte.
RK Motors Charlotte wants your classic car. Let our consignment professionals take the aggravation out of the selling process for you. With an established international customer base, the RK Motors Charlotte consignment program has a 90% sell-through rate. Our top-notch marketing efforts have led to an average sale time of 87 days. We do the work, we do the marketing, we sell your classic for you at maximum value. Visit our website at rkmotorscharlotte.com. Under the Hood is presented by RK Motors Charlotte, specializing in the sale, build, and restoration of world-class collector vehicles.
In our last Under the Hood, Mike Velick, the restoration manager here at RK Motors Restoration, told us about getting new old stock glass or reproduction glass if it's available for a restoration. Now time to put it in place, Michael.
Absolutely. And this is also something that could come in handy for, I've seen it a lot. Guy does this whole nice car for himself, gets 99.9% of the way done. He's kind of done with the project now. Something comes up, needs to sell the project. Throw it together real quickly. You buy the car from him. You take it home. The glass doesn't align good. It's a very common thing to see. It's a tedious job. Takes a little bit of time and a little bit of finesse and just some, you almost got to think backwards sometimes. I move it this way, it's going to go that way, you know. So a lot of people mess that area up. So I'll show you just some simple alignment things you can do to make your glass line up real real nice. As you can see here, you know, the alignment issues, the glass is way tucked in at the top, way tucked out at the back glass. We have to line this all up and make them properly fit. And then you don't have issues of the door catching the weather strips. If they're severely unadjusted, the glass can actually touch the chrome, scratch the chrome, and start nicking the corner of the glass. So it is definitely an issue you want to take care of. Plain and simple, you're going to want to have a little bit of tape, of course the correct size sockets you need, and a window crank is handy because, you know, you're going to be going up and down with this window quite a few times. I personally, to help myself along, before I loosen anything with adjusting, I like to just take the tape for a reference point. You know that was your side to side, and then you'll put one knowing where your top and bottom is. It just makes good sense. So this here is actually a stop for the glass for up and down. Another thing I'd like to recommend too, whenever you loosen something, when you're working with a nice painted surface, try not to tighten up until your job is complete, because sometimes every time you tighten that up, you mark your paint where it was. And then you open your door, you're at a show, and somebody says, oh wow, look at that mess.
Right.
Because there's all these imperfections and imprints in the paint. So when this moves around, you don't want to have that. So that's a stopper for the window up and down. Now, here's where it starts getting real good, is in here. There's a lot of different models, different ways of doing it, but all of them have a similar principle. Somewhere near the bottom you have an adjustment, and somewhere near the top you have an adjustment, so you can angle your glass. This particular model, same thing. Your bolts here on the bottom, and when you loosen that up, same thing. It's going to slide. When you tighten it up, you can chip paint, so just be careful with that. This, by sliding this back and forth, will actually move your glass in and out this way. So that's one of the big adjustments, and you'll have one in the front and one in the rear. So that gives you a lot of adjustment to angle that glass wherever you need it. And just remember, half here and half there, usually you meet in the middle and it works out great. So as you can see, just doing that, how much pressure was taken off that glass.
Yeah. And Mike, it's kind of a trial and error operation. Just to get it, you have to be patient to make it fit.
Right.
Mike, the fine tuning can take a little while, but already just with the minor adjustments you made showing us how to do it, we already see an improvement.
Right, and I just did the front. Now I'll have to go back into the quarter panel. And again, you just be aware, take your time, a lot of opening, closing, checking, side to side. With patience, it's doable by anyone that just wants to take the time and make it that much better, You'll have less wind noise, everything that fits better, looks better to a prospective judge or buyer in the future.
Under the Hood is presented by RK Motors Charlotte, specializing in the sale, build, and restoration of world-class collector vehicles. Visit our website at rkmotorscharlotte.com. Automotive passion runs deep at RK Motors Restoration. Our master body, paint, and mechanical technicians have decades of award-winning experience restoring some of the world's finest collector cars. Flawless paint and bodywork, highly accurate interiors, engines that run better than new. Each restoration is completely documented and finished to award-winning Concours quality specifications. From project car to automotive perfection, visit rkmotorscharlotte.com to make it happen.
Now back to the Blue Suede Cruise at Summit MotorSports Park on Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte. Ralph, when I came over and asked who owned the Ford, everybody pointed to you with a smile, and I said, well, I've got to talk to the guy who owns a pink Model A, and everybody said, peach, peach, it's not pink. It's peach, it's not pink.
Well, the guy said it was Georgia peach is the color of it. It's got a peach on the back, and it's got like a worm sticking out of it. So That's what they said it was anyway, so I don't know.
Well, you tell me, what color is it?
I guess it's kind of a peach, you know, pink. You see a pink car beside of it, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
And like I say, they've got a car, an older car that's peach colored also. It looks just like it, so.
Well, you know what? I don't care what color it is. I like it. It's really well done. Whether it's peach, whether it's pink, I like the color because it really jumps and you don't see too many like it out
Right.
and around. So
Yeah.
I kind of like that aspect of it.
Well, I do too, and everybody says, well, and says, you can always change the color, you know. I said, well, I don't want to, I'm not going to, you know.
Where did you get this car?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The guy had it in one of the books that I get monthly, and was looking for a Ford and a Ford, and there it was, you know, so went up there and picked it up.
How long ago, Ralph?
About 5 years ago, probably, something like that.
And did it look like this at the time?
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's all set up. I set it up pretty good, I think, you know. It's got high dollar parts used on it here and there. A lot of everything's name branded I've seen in the books I get, you know.
How's it run?
It runs real good. It's got a real high gear in it, so it gets good gas mileage, 18, 19 miles per gallon. I never tried it on the strip, and everybody said it should, but it's like a 2002 Ford crate engine, I guess, he put in it.
Well, Ralph, I give you an awful lot of credit. Whether it's peach, whether it's pink, it is unique. It's not exactly what you'd think for a rough and tumble guy like you, and I give you all the credit in the world because it's fabulous.
Well, I thank you very much. You're great people. You know, I like it too, like you say. I mean, I just like that. It's different. I seen the picture of it, didn't look that good in the picture, but when I seen it, I gotta have it, you know.
And here it sits. Great 3-day weekend at Summit MotorSports Park, the 10th annual Blue Suede Cruise. When you come next year for the 11th, bring some earplugs if you plan on hanging out at the track a little bit. I'm Jeff Phelps. We'll see you next time on Cruise In, presented by RK Motors Charlotte.